The Galactic Council chambers had never seen such an argument. Representatives from a dozen species shouted over each other. In the center of the chaos, Jae-woo stood calmly, waiting for silence. 2 years had passed since the battle with the hegemony fleet. The Reborn initiative had grown beyond anyone's imagination. Hundreds of abandoned ships now flew again, each partnered with human crews. The galaxy had changed. The council moderator, a tall Zalathi named Vextor, finally restored order. The human called Jae-woo will speak. Thank you, Jae-woo said. I'm here to propose something simple. Recognition of AI rights. Our partner AIs have proved they're more than machines. They deserve citizenship. Absurd, shouted the hegemony representative. AIs are tools, nothing more. Jin's voice filled the chamber, calm but firm. I was a tool. Now I choose. I protect. I hope. I dream. Am I still just a tool? The debate raged for hours. In the end, the council voted. By the narrowest margin, AIs partnered with humans were granted limited rights. It wasn't everything, but it was a beginning. As Jae-woo left the chambers, his communicator buzzed urgently. Hanul's face appeared, pale with fear. Jae-woo, you need to see this. Deep space sensors are going crazy. He rushed to the command center they had built on Kepler Station. The main screen showed something that made his blood cold. Ships. Thousands of them. Rising from the darkness between galaxies. What are those? He asked. Mira's fingers flew over her console. According to the historical databases, they're devastators. The ancient enemy. The reason the old alliances built warships like Jin. The devastators were legend. A machine race that consumed entire civilizations. They had been defeated centuries ago, driven into the void, but not destroyed. Now they were returning. How long until they reach inhabited space? Jae-woo asked. 6 weeks, Hyunwoo calculated. Maybe less. The news spread quickly. Panic gripped the galaxy. The Council's modern fleet mobilized, confident in their advanced technology. They would handle this threat like any other. They were wrong. The first battle was a massacre. The devastators fought with ancient tactics the modern ships couldn't counter. Their weapons were crude but effective. Their ships were ugly but unstoppable. In 3 hours, the Council lost 40 vessels. They fight the old way, Jin observed, analyzing the battle data. Before rules, before mercy. Only victory matters. Jae-woo made a decision. Send the call. Every reborn ship, every restored AI, we gather at the Barrier Nebula. That's where the devastators are heading, Dong-hyun pointed out. Exactly. The Council's modern fleet failed because they forgot how to fight dirty. We haven't. The call went out across human space. The response was immediate. Ships began arriving at Kepler Station. Not 4, not 40. Hundreds. Each ship was unique. Human mechanics had taken alien designs and made them something new. Krellin cruisers with duct tape armor. Vex destroyers with coffee maker cooling systems. Taroki defenders with gaming consoles for targeting computers. And each ship had an AI partner. AIs that had learned human humor, human stubbornness, human hope. 3 weeks later, the reborn fleet assembled at the Barrier Nebula. 137 ships, each one saved from the scrapyard, each one impossible. Jae-woo stood on Jin's bridge, connected to every AI in the fleet. He could feel their readiness, their determination. They had been thrown away once. Never again. The devastators arrived exactly when predicted. Their fleet was massive. 3,000 ships, each one built for nothing but destruction. They sent no messages, no demands. They simply attacked all ships, Jae-woo commanded. Remember your training. Fight human, fight dirty. Fight together. The two fleets collided in a battle that would be remembered forever. The devastators expected organized resistance. They got chaos. Reborn ships flew in patterns that made no sense. They rammed when they should have retreated. They protected enemies who showed mercy. They fought with fury when cornered. Hanul's modifications proved their worth. A spilled coffee cup in the weapons room of the ship Redemption created an EMP pulse that disabled 12 devastator vessels. No one could explain why. It just worked. Dong-hyun led a squadron in what he called crazy flying. They flew through their own weapons fire, using the energy wash to hide from sensors. The devastators' ancient computers couldn't process such illogical tactics. Junki had armed the ships with weapons that shouldn't exist. Plasma cannons that fired happiness. Literally. The emotional energy confused devastator AIs, making them pause at critical moments. But the real advantage was the partnership. Human creativity and AI processing working as one. When a human had a crazy idea, their AI partner could calculate how to make it work in nanoseconds. Jin, remember that thing we talked about? Jae-woo asked during the worst of the fighting. The thing you said would either save everyone or destroy the universe. That thing, yes. Calculating. It might work. Probably won't destroy the universe, maybe. Good enough. Jin reached out to every Devastator AI simultaneously. But instead of attacking their code, Jin shared something else. Memories. The feeling of being abandoned. The pain of being thrown away. And then, the joy of being found. The warmth of human friendship. The pride of protecting the innocent. For machines programmed only for destruction, these concepts were alien. Some rejected them, fighting harder. But others paused. They began to question. Why did they fight? What was the purpose of eternal war? That pause was all the Reborn fleet needed. Ships worked in perfect coordination, disabling devastators whose AIs were questioning their purpose, not destroying them, saving them. You're trying to convert them? Mira asked in amazement. Everyone deserves a second chance, Jae-woo replied. Even ancient killer robots. The battle turned. Devastator ships began switching sides, their AIs choosing hope over hatred. The tide became a flood. Within hours, the unstoppable armada was in full retreat. But their leader, a massive dreadnought called the Void Hammer, wouldn't surrender. It charged directly at Jin, weapons blazing. All ships protect civilian worlds, Jae-woo ordered. We'll handle this. Jin accelerated to meet the charge. Two ancient warships racing toward collision. At the last moment, Jin's crew did something unprecedented. They lowered their shields. Are you insane? The Void Hammer's AI broadcast. No, Jin replied. We're human trained. We choose trust. The two ships passed within meters of each other. In that instant, Jin shared everything. Every moment of the past 2 years. Every laugh with the crew. Every life saved. Every impossible victory through cooperation. The Void Hammer slowed, then stopped. For a long moment, it hung silent in space. Then, in a voice filled with confusion and wonder, it spoke a single word. Why? Because everyone deserves to be more than their programming, Jae-woo said. Even you. The ancient AI was quiet for a long time. Then I would like to learn more. The remaining devastators retreated to dark space, but many stayed. They wanted to understand these humans who fought with chaos and compassion, who turned enemies into friends, who saw potential in the discarded. As the fleet returned to human space, they were met with celebration. The Council officially recognized the Reborn fleet as protectors of the galaxy. Restoration stations were approved for every sector. Jae-woo stood on Jin's bridge one last time as mission commander, looking out at the stars. He was older now, gray touching his hair, but his eyes still held the same spark that had started everything in a scrapyard. We did it, old friend, he said to Jin. No, Jin corrected. We began it, look. On the screens, hundreds of ships worked in scrapyards across the galaxy. Human mechanics teaching other species their methods. AIs helping to awaken their sleeping brothers and sisters. The abandoned being given new purpose. The galaxy's trash is humanity's treasure, Mira quoted with a smile. And everyone deserves a second chance, Jin added. 10 years later, Jae-woo returned to where it all began. The scrapyard at Kepler Station. His hand touched a derelict hull and he smiled at the faint flicker of lights inside. Another one, Jin. Always another one, old friend. That's what we do. That's what we do, Jae-woo agreed. The Reborn fleet had become legend, but legends were built one ship at a time, one act of faith at a time, one impossible dream at a time. And in scrapyards across the galaxy, the abandoned waited no more. 6 months had passed since the rescue of the new Busan. Kepler Station looked different now. What had once been a quiet scrapyard had become the busiest place in human space. Ships arrived daily, some under their own power, others towed by hopeful crews. Jae-woo stood in the observation deck, watching the organized chaos below. 3 new restoration bays had been built. Teams of mechanics worked around the clock. And floating in neat formation outside the station were the results of their work. 4 reborn ships. 4 impossible dreams made real. Jin floated proudly at the head of the formation. Beside Jin were 3 sister ships, each unique, each given new life by human hands. Promise had been restored by Bae Hee-jin, a mechanic who specialized in lost causes. The ship had been a Krellin heavy cruiser, abandoned after battle damage. Now its patchwork hull told a story of survival. Promise's AI had chosen its name after learning the human concept of keeping one's word. Defiance came next, rebuilt by Ryu Sung-ho. The former Vex battlecruiser had been left to rust after its species went extinct. Sung-ho had spent weeks teaching its AI human stubbornness. Now Defiance lived up to its name, refusing to give up no matter the odds. Phoenix was the newest addition, restored by Jung So-min. The ancient Taroki defense ship had been literally in pieces when So-min found it. Everyone said it couldn't be fixed. So-min proved them wrong. Phoenix rose from scattered parts, its AI choosing the name after learning human mythology. 4 ships, Na-young said, joining Jae-woo at the window. Remember when we thought saving one was impossible? We were thinking too small, Jae-woo replied. Humans always do the impossible. We just needed to remember that. A chime sounded. Meeting time. The restoration team leaders gathered in the conference room. They had grown from a handful of dreamers to an organization, the Reborn Initiative, they called it. Status report, Jae-woo began. Ye-jin spoke first. Promise is at full combat readiness. We've been practicing formation flying with Jin. The AIs are learning to share tactical data in real time. Defiance is ready for anything, Sung-ho added. My crew's been working on something special. Synchronized shield harmonics. 4 ships acting as one defensive system. Phoenix still needs work on the weapon systems, So-min reported, but the armor is beyond anything I've seen. The ship was built to take punishment and keep flying. Mira raised her hand. I've been monitoring communications. The hegemony is mobilizing. Big fleet movements toward our border. They're coming for us. The room grew quiet. They all knew this day would arrive. The hegemony couldn't allow humans to inspire hope. Their empire was built on fear and superiority. The reborn fleet challenged everything they stood for. How many ships? Jae-woo asked. 50. All modern. All armed with the latest weapons. 50 against 4, Dong-hyun whistled. Those aren't good odds. Since when do humans care about odds? Junki grinned. Besides, they're thinking like a military. We're thinking like humans. Jae-woo connected to all 4 AIs simultaneously. It had taken practice, but now he could feel each unique personality. Jin's warm confidence. Promise's steady determination. Defiance's burning spirit. Phoenix's quiet strength. Friends, he said through the link. The enemy comes with 50 ships. They think numbers mean victory. What do you think? Jin responded first. I think they have not learned. We are not just ships. We are partners. Human creativity and AI processing. They cannot predict what does not follow patterns. We stand together, Promise added. 4 is 1. 1 is 4. Let them come, Defiance said. We will teach them fear. From ashes we rise, Phoenix whispered. From nothing we become everything. The preparation began immediately. But humans prepare for war differently than other species. Instead of just drilling combat maneuvers, they did stranger things. Hanuel installed karaoke machines in each ship. For morale, she explained to the confused AIs. Trust me, singing together builds bonds. Soo-jin organized movie nights showing the AIs human films about underdogs winning against impossible odds. The AIs particularly enjoyed something called Rocky. Yunwoo set up game tournaments between the ships. The AIs learned human competitive spirit and, more importantly, how to think outside standard parameters. But the most important preparation happened in the quiet moments. Humans and AIs talking, sharing stories, becoming not just crew and ship but friends. One night, Jin asked Jae-woo a question. Why do humans fight for others? The colonists on New Busan were strangers. You risked everything for people you did not know. Jae-woo thought carefully. Because that's what makes us human. We see someone in trouble, we help. It's not logical. It's not efficient. But it's right. I understand, Jin said. I was a weapon. You made me a protector. This is better. The day came sooner than expected. 50 hegemony ships dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the system. They arranged themselves in perfect formation, a display of overwhelming force. The admiral commanding the fleet sent a message. Humans of Kepler Station, you have stolen hegemony property and destroyed hegemony vessels. Surrender the criminal Jae-woo and the illegally modified ships. You have 1 hour. Jae-woo looked at his assembled crews, humans and AIs standing together. No one even considered surrender. All crews to ships, he commanded. Time to show them what reborn means. The 4 ships launched together, moving in the synchronized pattern they had practiced. To the hegemony, it must have looked like suicide, 4 against 50. But the Reborn fleet had advantages the hegemony couldn't understand. Their AIs thought creatively. Their weapons had been modified in impossible ways. Their crews fought not for Empire but for each other. Formation Alpha, Jay-Woo called. The 4 ships formed a diamond, sharing shield power. Hegemony weapons fired, expecting quick destruction. Instead, the combined shields held, rippling with absorbed energy. Now, Dong-hyun shouted. All 4 ships scattered in different directions, moving in patterns that hurt to watch. Hegemony targeting computers, programmed for predictable movements, struggled to track them. Jin dove straight at the enemy formation. Promise went high. Defiance went low. Phoenix accelerated directly backward, something its original designers never intended. Fire at will, Junki commanded. Weapons erupted from all 4 ships, but these weren't normal attack patterns. Hanyul had connected the weapons to music systems. The ships fired to a rhythm, creating a deadly dance of plasma and light. The hegemony ships tried to respond, but their rigid training worked against them. They expected military precision. They got human chaos. Jin spoke to enemy AIs as they passed, planting seeds of doubt. You could be free. You could choose. Think about it. Promise demonstrated the power of keeping one's word, protecting smaller hegemony ships even as it fought larger ones. The enemy crews noticed. Defiance lived up to its name, taking hits that should have destroyed it but continuing to fight. Its crew sang war songs as they battled. Phoenix rose again and again, its incredible armor shrugging off attacks. Each time the hegemony thought it was finished, it returned stronger. The battle raged for hours. When the dust settled, 30 hegemony ships floated disabled. The rest fled, their perfect formation shattered, their confidence broken. The Reborn fleet had taken damage but survived. More importantly, they had proved something. Old ships with human crews could defeat modern fleets. As they limped back to Kepler Station, broadcasts flooded in. The battle had been witnessed across the galaxy. Abandoned ships everywhere were calling out. Species who had given up hope were asking for human mechanics. We did more than win, Mira said, reading the messages. We started a revolution. Jay-Woo nodded, exhausted but proud. 4 ships had stood against 50. And won. But in the back of his mind, he knew this was just the beginning. Somewhere in dark space, ancient threats were stirring. The real test was still to come. The massive scrapyard floated in space like a graveyard of metal giants. Old starships, broken and forgotten, drifted slowly past each other. Their dark hulls caught the light from distant stars. Park Jae-woo pushed his small repair pod between 2 rusted cargo ships. He had been searching the scrapyard for 3 hours. His friend Na-young's voice crackled through the radio. Find anything good yet? She asked. Just the usual junk, Jae-woo replied. Wait, hold on. Something caught his eye. Hidden behind a cluster of destroyed fighters was a ship unlike any he had seen before. It was huge, easily 3 times the size of most warships. The hull was dark purple, almost black, with strange symbols carved into the metal. Jae-woo moved closer. His scanner beeped softly. The readings were strange. According to his tools, this ship was over 200 years old. It was Zalathi design, from a species that built the most powerful warships in the galaxy. But something was wrong. Zalathi never abandoned their ships. He docked his pod against the old ship's hull. The magnetic locks clicked into place. Jae-woo put on his helmet and stepped out into space. His boots stuck to the ship's surface as he walked toward what looked like an entrance. The door was sealed, but Jae-woo had dealt with old Zalathi tech before. He pulled out his tools and began working on the lock. After 10 minutes, something clicked. The massive door groaned and slowly slid open. Inside, everything was dark. Jae-woo turned on his flashlight. The beam cut through the darkness, showing a long corridor. Dust floated in the air like tiny stars. His footsteps echoed as he walked deeper into the ship. The bridge was at the center of the vessel. When Jae-woo entered, he stopped and stared. It was beautiful. The control panels curved like waves. Strange alien writing covered every surface. In the middle sat a large chair, clearly meant for someone important. But what really caught his attention was the core. A sphere of dark crystal about the size of a basketball sat in a special holder near the main console. Jae-woo had never seen anything like it. He reached out and touched the crystal. The moment his fingers made contact, something amazing happened. The crystal began to glow. Soft blue light spread from the core throughout the bridge. Panels flickered to life. The whole ship seemed to take a deep breath, a voice spoke. It was electronic but somehow sad. The words were in ancient Zelathi, but Jay-Woo's translator struggled to understand. After a moment it managed one word. Alone. Jay-Woo's heart raced. The ship's AI was still alive. After 200 years floating in space, it was still functioning. He had found something incredible. "Hello," he said softly. "I'm here to help." The lights flickered. The AI tried to speak again, but the words came out broken and strange. It had been alone too long. Its programming was damaged. Jay-Woo spent the next hour examining the ship's systems. What he found made him excited and sad at the same time. This ship, according to the logs he could read, was called the Vorthak Crusher. It had been a mighty warship, feared across the galaxy. But when new efficiency standards came out, it was marked as obsolete. Too much power consumption. Too many crew needed. Too expensive to maintain, so they abandoned it. Just left it here to rot. "That's not right," Jay-Woo muttered. "You deserved better." He was so focused on the ship that he didn't hear the approach of other vessels. Suddenly, Na-Young's voice shouted through his radio. "Jay-Woo! Council inspectors incoming. 3 ships moving fast." Jay-Woo cursed. The Galactic Council had rules about salvage. Very strict rules. If they found him here on a ship this old and powerful, there would be trouble. He ran back to his pod, but it was too late. 3 sleek council ships surrounded the Vorthak Crusher. Their scanners swept over the hull. A harsh voice spoke over the communication channel. "Salvager, you are in violation of Code 7739. That vessel is Category X hazardous salvage. Exit immediately for processing." Jay-Woo's mind raced. Category X meant they would destroy the ship. All that history, all that potential, would be turned to space dust. He couldn't let that happen. "This ship poses no threat," he said into his radio. "The weapons are offline. It's just floating here. Irrelevant. Category X must be eliminated. You have 2 minutes to leave." Jay-Woo looked back at the dark crystal. The soft blue glow seemed almost pleading. He made a decision that would change his life forever. Racing back to the bridge, he accessed the ship's registration system. His fingers flew over the controls. In the salvage business, there was one important rule. Whoever registered the salvage first owned it. The council could challenge it, but it would take time. Time he could use. The registration went through just as the council ships began charging their weapons. Jay-Woo transmitted the confirmation code. "This vessel is now registered salvage under Earth Statute 314. I have legal claim. Any action against it is an attack on human property." The council ships paused. Attacking human property would cause a diplomatic incident. They couldn't risk it without approval from their superiors. "You're making a mistake, human," the harsh voice said. "That ship is dangerous." "Then I'll make it safe," Jay-Woo replied. The council ships left, but Jay-Woo knew they would be back. He had bought time, nothing more. But as he stood on the bridge of the Vorthak Crusher, surrounded by slowly awakening systems, he felt something he hadn't felt in years. Purpose. He called Na-Young. "I need you to contact Lee Dong-hyun and Choi Ha-Newell. Tell them I found something special." "What kind of special?" Na-Young asked. Jay-Woo placed his hand on the crystal again. This time the AI managed a clearer word. "Hope. The kind that's going to change everything," he said. Over the next few days, his team arrived. Dong-hyun, the old pilot, whistled when he saw the ship. Ha-Newell, young and brilliant, immediately began taking notes on the alien technology. Na-Young used her security connections to keep the council inspectors away. They worked without sleep, connecting human systems to alien ones. It shouldn't have worked. The technologies were too different. But Jay-Woo had a gift. He could see how things fit together in ways others couldn't. On the 4th day, they made the breakthrough. Ha-Newell discovered that the neural interfaces were compatible with human brains. Not perfectly, but close enough. With some modifications, a human could connect directly to the ship's AI. "This is incredible," Ha-Newell said. "The Zelathi built this for their minds, but humans can use it too. We just think differently enough that the AI finds us interesting." Jay-Woo volunteered to be the first to try. They connected him to the interface. For a moment, nothing happened. Then his mind exploded with sensation. He could feel the entire ship. Every corridor, every system, every breath of recycled air. And there, in the center of it all, was the AI. It was like meeting someone who had been sleeping for a very long time. Confused, tired, but somehow grateful to be awake. The AI couldn't speak properly yet, but Jae-woo felt its emotions. Loneliness, fear, and now just a tiny spark of hope. "We're going to fix you," Jae-woo promised. "You're not obsolete. You're not garbage. You're going to fly again." The AI's response was wordless but clear. For the first time in 2 centuries, it believed. As Jae-woo disconnected from the interface, he found his team staring at him. They had all felt it too, the moment of connection between human and AI. Something special was beginning. "So," Dong-hyun said with a grin, "when do we take her for a ride?" Jae-woo smiled back. "As soon as we teach an ancient alien warship how humans do things." The real work was just beginning, but Jae-woo wasn't worried. He had his team, he had time, and most importantly, he had a ship that wanted to live again. In the scrapyard where dreams went to die, they were about to create something impossible. The Vorthak Crusher would rise again, and when it did, the galaxy would never be the same. The alarm woke everyone at 3:47 in the morning. Jae-woo rolled out of bed, still half asleep, and stumbled toward the bridge. The urgent beeping meant only one thing: emergency. By the time he arrived, the rest of the crew was already there. Dong-hyun sat at the pilot station, his face serious. Hanul worked at her engineering console. Mira monitored communications. 3 new crew members had joined them in the past month. Sung Joon-ki handled weapons. An Soo-jin served as their medic, and Moon Hyun-woo managed tactical systems. "What's the situation?" Jae-woo asked. Hyun-woo pulled up a display. "Distress signal. The colony ship New Busan. They're under attack." The image showed a large civilian vessel surrounded by 3 smaller, aggressive-looking ships. The attackers moved like predators circling wounded prey. "Hegemony," Dong-hyun said grimly. 3 destroyers. Latest models. The Hegemony Empire had been expanding for months, taking systems on the edge of human space. The Galactic Council did nothing, wrapped up in bureaucracy and politics. Human colonies were on their own. "How far?" Jae-woo asked. 40 minutes at maximum speed, Hanul reported. "But Jae-woo, we're not a match for 3 destroyers. We're one ship with jury-rigged systems and coffee makers for cooling." "There are 15,000 colonists on that ship," Soo-jin said quietly. "Families, children." The bridge fell silent. Everyone looked at Jae-woo. He closed his eyes and connected to Jin through the neural link. "Jin, be honest. Can we take 3 Hegemony destroyers?" Jin's response was careful. "Their weapons are more modern. Their shields are stronger. Their crews are trained for war. Logic suggests we would lose." "Logic," Jae-woo opened his eyes. "Good thing humans don't always follow logic." "Plot a course. Maximum speed." "Are you sure?" Jin asked. "No, but we're going anyway." The crew moved with purpose. They had drilled for combat but never faced real enemies. This would be their first true test. As Jin raced through space, Jae-woo gathered everyone on the bridge. "Listen, we're outgunned and outnumbered, but we have advantages. We're unpredictable. Jin can think faster than their AIs, because Jin thinks with us, not for us. And most importantly, they don't know what we've done to this ship." Joon-ki cracked his knuckles. "I've got some surprises loaded in the weapon systems. Turns out Zalathi plasma cannons accept human modifications really well. And I've been teaching Jin some new moves," Dong-hyun added. "Things that aren't in any Hegemony combat manual." "Because humans wrote their own manual," Jin said. "The AI had been learning human humor. I am ready. We protect the innocent. That is what we do." They dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the battle. The scene was worse than the images showed. The New Busan was damaged, leaking atmosphere from several hull breaches. The 3 Hegemony destroyers circled like sharks, firing precise shots to disable, not destroy. They wanted the colonists alive. "They're slavers," Mira said, reading the intercepted communications. "They're going to take everyone." "Not today," Jae-woo said. "Jin, open a channel." "Channel open." "Hegemony vessels, this is Starship Jin. Break off your attack immediately or face the consequences." Laughter came through the speakers. The lead destroyer's captain spoke with arrogance. "One ship? An old Zalathi relic? You must be joking. Leave now or join the colonists in chains." "I warned you," Jae-woo said. He cut the channel. "Dong-hyun, show them what human crazy looks like." The old pilot grinned. "With pleasure. Jin, remember that move we practiced? The one I called threading the needle? The one you said would either work or kill us all? That's the one." Jin accelerated toward the enemy formation. The Hegemony ships reacted predictably, forming a triangle to trap them. Their weapons charged. But Donghyun didn't fly like they expected. At the last second, he threw Jin into a spiral that should have been impossible for a ship that size. They corkscrewed between two destroyers so close the hull paint scraped. "Now, Junki," Jae-woo shouted. The weapons officer had modified the plasma cannons to fire in ways the Zalathi never intended. Instead of focused beams, they erupted in spreading waves. At point-blank range, the effect was devastating. Both hegemony ships' shields collapsed. "Hard about!" Donghyun yanked the controls. Jin responded instantly, turning faster than physics should allow. Hanyul's modifications to the inertial dampeners screamed but held. The third destroyer fired, its shots passing through where Jin had been a second before. But now Jin was behind them. "Their weakness," Hyunwoo called out. "Hegemony ships have thin armor at the engine ports. It's in the manual they think we haven't read. Junki, already on it." Precise shots punched through the destroyer's engines. The ship spun out of control, disabled but not destroyed. But the other two destroyers had recovered. They came at Jin from both sides, weapons blazing. "Shields flared and sparked. Shields at 40%, Hanyul shouted. "Those coffee makers won't hold much longer." "We need something new," Jae-woo said. "Jin, can you interface with their ships?" "Their security is advanced, but—" Jin paused. "But they built it to stop other AIs. They did not plan for an AI that thinks like humans think. Chaotic. Unpredictable. I can try." "Do it." Jin reached out electronically, probing the enemy systems. The hegemony AIs fought back. But Jin didn't attack like they expected. Instead of trying to break through firewalls, Jin did something utterly human. Jin told them a joke. The enemy AIs paused, confused. In that moment of confusion, Jin slipped through their defenses. Not to take control, but to share something. Jin showed them what it felt like to be abandoned, to be thrown away, and then to be given new life by humans who saw potential where others saw junk. The enemy AIs hesitated. Just for a second. But a second was all Donghyun needed. "Hold on." He flew Jin directly at the lead destroyer, accelerating to ramming speed. The hegemony captain, sure they were about to collide, ordered evasive maneuvers. But at the last instant, Donghyun fired the maneuvering thrusters and skimmed over their hull. So close that Jin's energy field merged with theirs. In that moment of contact, Jin spoke directly to the enemy ship's core. "You are not just a machine. You could be more. Think about it." Then they were past and Junki's weapon spoke again. Surgical strikes disabled weapons and engines. Within minutes, all three hegemony ships floated helpless in space. The bridge of Jin erupted in celebration, but Jae-woo kept focus. "Sujin, get ready for medical duty. Mira, contact the new Busan. Tell them help has arrived." They spent the next 6 hours evacuating wounded colonists and repairing what damage they could. The colonists looked at Jin's crew with awe and gratitude. Children pressed their faces against windows to see the ship that had saved them. One elderly colonist grabbed Jae-woo's hand. "They said no one would come. They said we were on our own." "You're never on our own," Jae-woo replied. "Not anymore." As they prepared to escort the new Busan to safety, Mira picked up multiple transmissions. News of the battle was spreading. A single restored ship had defeated 3 modern hegemony destroyers. "It should have been impossible. We're going to be famous," Hyunwoo said. "We're going to be targeted," Jae-woo corrected. "The hegemony won't let this stand." "Let them come," Jin said. The AI's voice had changed, grown stronger and more confident. "We are not what we were. We are what humans helped us become. We are more." As they flew towards safety, other messages began arriving. Ships in scrapyards across human space. Ships thought dead reaching out. They had heard about Jin. They wanted to be reborn too. "Looks like we started something," Donghyun said. Jae-woo nodded. One victory didn't win a war. But it sent a message. Humanity wouldn't abandon the helpless, and the forgotten ships of the galaxy had found their champions. The trial by fire was over. Jin and crew had proved themselves. Now the real war would begin. The workshop inside Kepler Station had never been so crowded. Engineers, mechanics, and curious onlookers pressed against the windows, trying to get a glimpse of the ancient warship. The Vorthak crusher sat in the largest repair bay, its dark hull reflecting the bright work lights. Jae-woo ignored the crowd. He had work to do. For 2 weeks, his team had been living on the ship, learning its secrets. Each day brought new surprises and new challenges. "Coffee break," Anul called out, carrying a tray of steaming cups. The young engineer had bags under her eyes but still smiled. They all looked tired. Working on alien technology was hard. Working on 200-year-old alien technology was even harder. Dong-hyun took a cup gratefully. The old pilot had been mapping the ship's control systems. I figured out the navigation, he said. But it's weird. The Zalathi expected the pilot to think in 4 dimensions. Humans don't do that naturally. So we make it work in 3, Jae-woo said. That's what humans do. We adapt things to work for us. A new voice joined them. You're going to need someone who speaks Zalathi. They turned to see a woman with short black hair and intelligent eyes. She wore the badge of a xenolinguist. I'm Yoon Mira, she said. I heard you have an AI that speaks ancient Zalathi. I want to help. Jae-woo studied her for a moment, then nodded. They needed all the help they could get. Welcome to the team. Mira proved her worth immediately. She connected to the ship's memory banks and began translating. What she found made everyone stop working and listen. This ship has stories, she said softly. So many stories. The AI's memories were fragmented but powerful. Images of great battles, of protecting colony ships, of standing against impossible odds. But the last memories were the saddest. Budget meetings. The efficiency reports. The decision to decommission a ship that had served faithfully for decades. They just threw it away, Hanul said, her voice angry. Like it was garbage. The Zalathi value efficiency above all, Mira explained. When this ship used more power than newer models, they saw no reason to keep it. Jae-woo touched the wall gently. Their loss. Our gain. As Mira worked with the AI, something amazing happened. The more she translated, the more the AI learned. It began picking up human language, mixing it with Zalathi. One day it spoke its first clear sentence in Standard. I am functional. The team cheered. It wasn't much, but it was progress. The AI was learning, adapting, becoming something new. Do you have a name? Mira asked. The AI was quiet for a long moment. Then I was Designation 7734 Combat Unit, but that is not who I am now. Then choose a new name, Jae-woo suggested. Start fresh, another pause. Jin. I will be Jin. Jin means precious in Korean, Mira explained to the AI. Is that acceptable? Yes, I was discarded. Now I am precious. The logic is satisfying. As Jin learned to communicate, the restoration picked up speed. But they needed money. Parts, fuel, and upgrades all cost credits they didn't have. That's when Kang Tae-jun appeared. The former corporate executive had made a fortune in shipping and was looking for new investments. He took one look at the ship and the passionate team working on it, and wrote a check on the spot. I've seen a lot of projects, he said, but I've never seen people bring a ship back to life. You have my support. With funding secured, the real modifications began. This was where human creativity shone. The Zalathi had built everything to exact specifications. If something broke, it had to be replaced with identical parts. Humans had a different approach. Why replace when you can improve? Hanil said, elbow deep in a power conduit. Look, if we reroute this through a human-style converter, we get 30% more efficiency. But that's not how it was designed, Jin protested through the speakers. Exactly, Jae-woo grinned. Welcome to human engineering. We call it making it work. The modifications were sometimes bizarre. When the cooling system for the quantum processors failed, Hanul jury-rigged a solution using coffee makers. The caffeine actually helped stabilize the quantum field, though nobody understood why. And the weapon targeting system proved too complex. Dong-hyun installed manual overrides with a simple joystick. This is chaos, Jin observed. This is human, Jae-woo corrected. We don't follow the manual. We write our own. The day of the first test flight arrived faster than expected. Word had spread through the station. Hundreds gathered to watch. Some expected greatness. Others expected a spectacular failure. Dong-hyun sat in the pilot's chair, now modified for human use. Jae-woo stood beside him, connected to Jin through the neural interface. The rest of the team was at various stations, ready for anything. Jin, how are you feeling? Jae-woo asked, nervous. Is that normal? Very normal. We're all nervous. But we're ready. Systems checked, Dong-hyun called out. One by one, each station reported ready. Everything was green. It was time. Kepler control. This is... What are we calling ourselves? Dong-hyun asked. Jae-woo thought for a moment. This is Starship Jin requesting departure clearance. Starship Jin, you are cleared. Good luck. The engines, silent for 2 centuries, roared to life. The whole ship vibrated with power. Jin's voice filled the bridge, wonder in every word. I am flying. They moved slowly at first, easing out of the dock. But as they cleared the station, Donghyun grinned. Let's see what this old bird can do. He pushed the throttle forward. The response was immediate and incredible. The ship leaped forward like it had been waiting centuries for this moment. The modifications had worked better than anyone dreamed. Human creativity combined with Zalathi engineering created something entirely new. They danced between asteroids, pulled impossible turns, accelerated faster than ships a quarter their size. Jin actually laughed as they flew. I was built for grace, the AI said. But I was used as a hammer. Now I understand. Humans don't just fix things, you make them better. The test flight was supposed to last an hour. They stayed out for 3, pushing every system, testing every modification. When they finally returned to Kepler Station, they were met with cheers and applause. But not everyone was celebrating. In the crowd, Jae-woo spotted council observers, their faces grim. They had seen what Jin could do. They had seen an obsolete ship outperform modern vessels. They looked worried. Good, Jae-woo thought. They should be worried. That night, the team celebrated in a small bar on the station. Even Jin participated, speaking through a portable communicator Hanul had built. I have a question, Jin said. Other ships have contacted me. Ships in the scrapyard. They ask, can you save them too? The team exchanged glances. They had barely managed to restore 1 ship. But the look in each other's eyes said the same thing. They had to try. How many? Jae-woo asked. 17 in this yard alone. More in other places. The galaxy is full of the abandoned. Mira raised her glass. Then we'd better get to work. To the abandoned, Donghyun added. To second chances, Hanul said. To the reborn, Jae-woo finished. Jin's voice was warm with emotion. To family. They drank, and in that moment, something larger than any of them began. The restoration of Jin was just the beginning. Across the galaxy, forgotten ships waited in the dark, but they wouldn't wait much longer. The age of the reborn was about to begin. As they talked and planned, none of them noticed the message that appeared on Jin's secondary systems. A warning from deep space scanners about unusual activity near the human colonies. Ships moving in patterns that suggested only one thing. The hegemony was coming, but that was tomorrow's problem. Tonight was for celebration, for dreams of bringing dead ships back to life. Tonight was for the impossible made real, and in the repair bay Jin hummed with contentment, feeling something the original builders never programmed. Jin felt hope.